I'm very pleased to be able to join you at your school collective worship to mark this Armistice Day. You will see that I am not wearing the normal clothes I wear when I come and visit you at school. Today I'm wearing the uniform of a First World War Army chaplain from 100 years ago. I shouldn't really be wearing the hat indoors, but I wanted you to see what the uniform looks like. Now, as the parish priest of Catsfield and Crowhurst, it's my job to try and look after the people in Catsfield and Crowhurst villages. Priests who joined the army were called chaplains, and it was their job to look after the soldiers. Today we're thinking a little bit about a chaplain called the Reverend David Railton. I've got a picture of him here to show you. That's what David Railton looked like, and you can see him wearing his army uniform. Chaplains like Railton never carried weapons, but they could still be very brave. Railton won a medal known as the Military Cross for rescuing 3 men when they were injured and under very heavy fire from the enemy guns. Railton always used to carry a Union flag, just like this one, in his pack, and he'd spread it out to serve as a cloth every time he celebrated Holy Communion. Holy Communion is the special meal which our Lord Jesus Christ told us to celebrate in remembrance of him. It's when we offer God bread and wine so that Jesus Christ can be present to us today. This cup, called a chalice, and this plate, called a paten, belonged to another chaplain, and they show exactly the sort of things that Railton would have put on his flag to celebrate Holy Communion. Railton knew all about the horror of war, and when the First World War had ended, he wanted to do something to help people come to terms with all the terrible deaths. He suggested the burial of an unknown soldier in Westminster Abbey at the heart of London, something he said which would ease the pain of father, mother, brother, sister, sweetheart, wife and friend, everyone who'd lost someone and knew not where he was buried. And that burial took place 100 years ago today, on the 11th of November. A great deal of care was taken to select an unknown body, so it could be anyone. We refer to whoever it is who was buried in Westminster Abbey as the unknown warrior, since he could be from any background, which was very comforting for people. The body was laid in an oak box. I've got a picture here for you of what it looked like. That oak box, the body of the unknown warrior, was then brought over from France on a battleship called HMS Verdun, then on a special train to London. You can still see the railway carriage which was used to transport the body of the unknown warrior, since it's now near Bodiam Castle, not far from here. After the train, the body was taken on a gun carriage to Westminster Abbey, and there in the Abbey the warrior was buried. He lies there to this day, in the most prominent place by the main door amongst all the kings of England. It's the only tomb on the floor that nobody ever walks on. So I thought I'd like to finish by reading to you the inscription on the tomb. Beneath this stone rests the body of a British warrior, unknown by name or rank, brought from France to lie among the most illustrious of the land, and buried here on Armistice Day, the 11th of November 1920, in the presence of His Majesty King George V, his ministers of state, the chiefs of his forces, and a vast concourse of the nation. Thus are commemorated the many multitudes who during the Great War of 1914 to 1918 gave the most that man can give, life itself. For God, for king and country, for loved ones, home and empire, for the sacred cause of justice and the freedom of the world. They buried him among the kings because he had done good toward God and towards his house. Greater love hath no man than this.